Hello everyone. As I was reading an article, I was going through an article, and it was really interesting that how we Indians are still using the slang language of the Britishers, whereas we have already been independent and since 75 years we can use our own terminologies or we can just refresh various things, but we didn't refresh all those things. So the terms which are used across the UK along with their origins, I would say about the origins, and I'm taking an example of washrooms. So it's a very weird example for many of you, but it's an interesting example for those people who think that English or the language can be only understood by a proper grammar or the proper way of accent. But I believe that neutral accent, what Indians have, are the best accent in the world. That's why the maximum BPOs are in India. So the first thing in Britishers, they usually say the loo, L-O-O, loo. By far the most ubiquitous British slang word for the toilet or bathroom is loo. Traces its roots from a French phrase regardes lieu, which means watch out for the water. This refers back when the loo was simply a bucket kept in the bedroom. Thankfully, loo facilities have progressed right now. So they have adopted a bucket to pass out the urine. This is known as loo, which is a French word. Then the bog. They usually, some of the teenage kids of Britain or UK usually say the bog, B-O-G, bog. You'll hear the bog used to mean toilet or bathroom predominantly in northern England, especially in Scotland. This early slang emerged in the late 1800s, likely comparing the toilet to a muddy, boggy wetland area. It's very interesting. These Britishers are using such a kind of slang language that sometimes it feels like it's such an impolite words they are using. Then comes the netty, Netty, also used as Northern England and Scotland. Netty is a slang term for the toilet or bathroom. This is believed to be originate from the ancient Romans' use of bronze nets placed under benches with holes that served as primitive urinals. My God, they haven't explored anything by themselves. They have adapted from French, from Romans, from Germans. And these people have ruled India for so many years. Thanks to some of the Indians who helped them to rule. Then comes the Khazi. Khazi is actually a Russian word known as kakat, K-A-K-A-T, kakat, meaning defaceate. It came into the use in the World War II, originally referring to the outdoor toilets before evolving a slang term by any of the bathrooms. So bathroom was not actually discovered at that particular point of time, and in World War II, it was predominant that this kind of word, the Khazi word, has been used. Then comes another word, the can, C-A-N, can. You'll still hear Old British refers to the bathroom as the can. This dates back in 1900s when the metal cans were used as first toilets for flushing toilets, replacing old outdoor primitives. Many of the Indians have already traveled into trains and they might have seen that the toilets are made up of aluminium or metal sheets. They are not made up of ceramics. That means they are using still the British pattern. And these toilets, which are public toilets in the trains, which is actually known as lavatory. Lavatory is a word which is associated with public toilets and the metal plate or the tin sheets known as toilet seats, which are been installed in the bathrooms or in the lavatories of train, are known as the cans. We Indians are still living in the era of Britishers. Shame on us. Can't we use a proper Indian originated material? We are still using the cans. the 1900s technology of passing out the urinals and faces. Shame on Indians. Literally shame on Indians. We're using the same word lavatory. Whenever I see lavatory in the train, my mind freaks out. I simply like the person who writes this particular thing. I simply believe that his hand should be cut down. His hand should be removed from its body. Next come your favorite word, favorite Indian word, lavatory. So, mostly used by the older generations in northern England, lav or lavy is a shortening of the polite word lavatory used for the describe of public toilets. And the little boys and little girls room also has an imposium. This little boy's room or the girl's room is referring to as restroom. Now, the restroom is a very proper and very nice word which can be used for senior persons, just for girls and boys. But in UK, it is associated with only the toilets or the lavatories or the cans or the kazis, only for children's. So, as you can see that Britishers have a knack of coming up of cheeky and evocative slang languages, which in terms that depends largely on the age, region and personal references, like I have already discussed. Now let's understand what is the American pattern of pronouncing or designation or designating what is the restroom or toilets. Restroom versus toilets, that is generally toilets. If you say in America, if you just assert someone saying in America that I want to use your toilet, that would sound such an impolite word in the eyes of and in the ears of Americans. Americans generally say restroom. This is a very polite, very mannerful way of asking, can I use your restroom? Do you have a restroom? May I know the place where the restroom belongs? So these are the very polite ways of understanding rather than the Britishers, which are more slang. Generally, people have an perception that Americans use more slang language. Actually, slang language is associated with every country. Every country uses slang language. Even we Indians also use slang language. If I start saying slang language, my video will be banned. So I can't say that. Bathroom versus toilet. While bathroom is the main US term, actually bathroom is not a British term. Look, I haven't said any of the words like bathroom which is associated with UK words, because it's not a slang language. Bathroom is a very polite language explaining someone that you can go there and you can have a bath. Restroom consists of both the things. It's a combination of bathroom as well as passing of your urinals or your faces. Faucets versus tap. In Britishers usually called as taps. We Indians still say tap water. Many of the Indians still say, oh, it's 5 p.m. in the evening, we'll get 1 hour of tap water. They say faucets. This is the difference between both the English, US English and UK English. Now, the major thing. In Britain, if you go and ask someone that I want to go to the 13th floor or the 12th floor, or the 10th floor, they will say, there's the lift. In America, in US, they will say, that's an elevator. That's the only term which has been changed remarkably in last 50 years I have observed. Because I have observed that older generation usually say lift, the new generation usually say elevator. So this is how we understand the language. And many of the people criticize me, saying that some of my grammatical mistakes, they point out, they say, but I ask them how correct they are. They are still using the word lavatory. Why they don't object the Indian Railways for changing lavatory word to a restroom word? There they will not say anything. because they never point on these small things, small mistakes. That's why people say Naidu sir is weird, Naidu sir think out of the box, Naidu sir is a mad person, Naidu sir is a psycho teacher. I humbly accept all this criticism because today, with this audio clip, with this podcast, I made myself clear that I know the better points to understand the mistakes which we are following since the time of Britishers till 2024. So, guys, we need to correct all these things. We need to point out all these things to government and tell them if you are independent, why you are using those terms which were once to Britishers, and those words are slang language. With this thought, I end my podcast because I believe that's enough for all of you. Think before reading your Rin in Martin. Sometimes you need to think about the grammar. Good night. Take care. And God bless you.